Hi everybody, I'm Babaloo, and today I'm doing a movie review. Finally! I know I said this is a channel that I'm going to do reviews on, and all I've done so far is just top 10 lists, but that's going to change. I'm going to do a review of Avengers Age of Ultron. I'm going to see that this Thursday, so that review will either be out very late Thursday or very early Friday. But I didn't want to just leave you guys with nothing till then. So what I decided to do was review my favorite movie trilogy ever. And yes, I know that some people will say that it should be Star Wars, but trust me, that's a very close second to this. So today's review is going to be of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I'm going to eventually review every movie in the trilogy, and I'll put those up whenever I don't really have anything else going on, because I feel bad when I don't do anything. Before I say any more, I just want to say that there's going to be spoilers in here, because I mean, the movie came out in 2001, and it's The Lord of the Rings. You had to have seen it. Now I sat down and watched this movie just prior to this on my Blu-ray Extended Edition, just so I could have a fresh mind and tell you exactly why I love these movies. So the movie starts off with a prologue that basically tells the history of everything we're about to see. First off, it tells about the forging of the Rings of Power. 3 rings for the elves, 7 for the dwarves, and 9 for men. And then we're introduced to our main bad guy Sauron, who in secret forged his own ring to control all these other rings. And now, one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. So that basically tells you what Sauron's ring is going to do. It's bad news. So we see the last alliance of elves and men, and they fight the armies of Mordor. Isildur takes up his father's broken sword, and he cuts off Sauron's hand, removing him from the ring, which apparently kills him. Then Isildur has the chance to destroy the ring, but he doesn't do it, because men are idiots. Actually, it's because the ring corrupts people, but also because men are idiots. So Isildur gets killed and the ring disappears. Nobody knows what happens to it. Well, it's found by everybody's favorite almost hobbit Smeagol. So he finds it, the ring makes him do some bad things, and then he goes and hides in the mountains for a couple hundred years, until it's finally found by Bilbo Baggins, played by Martin Freeman, but not yet. In this trilogy, it's played by Ian Holm, so he takes it back home with him to Bag End and lives a long life until he's 11-1. Then we get to the main story of the Fellowship of the Ring. They're having a party for Bilbo because it is his 111th birthday. So Bilbo decides he wants to leave, but not before doing a special magic trick with his ring. He then sets out and leaves the ring to Frodo Baggins, Frodo being played by Elijah Wood. Then everybody's favorite wizard Gandalf the Grey gets suspicious. And Gandalf the Grey is Sir Ian McKellen. And because Gandalf is suspicious, he goes and does research in a library. For those of you that don't know, a library is where they keep books. He has his suspicions that this ring that Bilbo left is the one ring that Isildur lost all those years ago. So he gets Frodo and his awesome gardener Sam, played by Sean Astin, to go on a quest to take the ring to Rivendell. Along the way, they meet up with their fellow hobbit friends, Merry and Pippin. Merry played by Dominic Monaghan and Pippin played by Billy Boyd. And they set off for Bree to stay at the Prancing Pony, because it's a cool place. There they meet Aragorn, played by Viggo Mortensen, the best character. They eventually get to Rivendell, but only after Frodo makes a few jizz faces and then gets stabbed in the shoulder by a Morgul blade. It's bad news. So he gets rushed to Rivendell and he's saved. He thinks his part is over because he brought the ring to Rivendell. That's what he was supposed to do. Then we see the Council of Elrond. And I just want to say, this is just, people sitting down talking, but I get the stupidest smile on my face every time this scene comes on because it's just so amazing. After a bunch of arguing, Frodo stands up and says he's going to take the ring to Mordor, and he's joined by Gandalf, Sam, Aragorn, Legolas, played by Orlando Bloom, Gimli, played by John Rhys Davies, Boromir, played by Sean Bean, spoilers, Sean Bean dies, and Merry and Pippin. They set off to go to Mordor and destroy the ring. But as Boromir points out, one does not simply walk into Mordor, and by that I mean one does not simply walk to Mordor, because it's quite a ways away and bad stuff is happening. Saruman the Wise, played by Christopher Lee, has turned bad, and he's trying to make things difficult for the Fellowship. So they end up going through the mines of Moria, and oh man, one of my favorite parts. I say one of, but there are several, too many to count. In the mines, we see our first big epic battle. After that battle, they're running out of the mines, they're so close, when suddenly they are faced by the Balrog of Morgoth. And here's where we see Gandalf's ever so popular line, You shall not pass! It's better when he does it. The Balrog falls into a deep pit. We think everything's gonna be okay, but then suddenly the Balrog's whip comes up and wraps around Gandalf's ankle. And then, one of the saddest moments, Gandalf falls off of the bridge of Khazad-dûm and into shadow. After a very short grieving period, the Fellowship makes their way to Lothlorien, where they are found by Celeborn and the Lady Galadriel. They get a bit of rest there and then they're off again, this time on boats! Along one of their stops, they are attacked by a band of Uruk-hai sent by Saruman. This is also where the Fellowship completely falls apart. Sam and Frodo separate from the others and go on to Mordor alone. Merry and Pippin are kidnapped by the Uruk-hai. Boromir is tragically killed. The three remaining companions, Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, decide to go after Merry and Pippin because they can't leave them to the fate of the terrible Uruk-hai. That's pretty much the synopsis. I didn't really expect to do that, but it happened. So now I just want to kind of break down the characters, tell you what I like and don't like about them, and I'm only going to do a few of them, and by a few I mean all of them except for like one or two. First of all, of course, we have Frodo. Frodo is a very likable character. The only thing is, he's kind of the main character, but he wasn't where all my focus was. That's not necessarily a bad thing though, because he's still a good character. Then we have Gandalf. Oh, this guy is the best. An old wizard who uses magic, who uses his sword, a faux hammer, and Ian McKellen does such an amazing job at portraying this character. I couldn't think of anybody better to play the part, even though that they originally had 3 or 4 guys picked to play it before Ian McKellen, but they had just turned it down, so it passed to him. And there's also Sam. Now Sam gets a lot better in the later movies, but you can see in the first movie just how loyal and how good of a friend he is to Frodo, and that just grows through the rest of the movies. And Aragorn, oh man, everybody wanted to be Aragorn. And when I say that, I mean when I was younger and we played Lord of the Rings as kids, everybody wanted to be Aragorn because he was the best. And I mean, Aragorn took down 5 Nazgûl, 5 of them, by himself. He was essentially the secondary main character. I don't know if that's an actual thing, but I'm making it a thing now. And of course, he gets a lot bigger as the story goes on too. And once again, I couldn't think of anybody better to play Aragorn than Viggo Mortensen. And once again, they had someone else picked out before Viggo Mortensen. I also want to talk about Boromir. Now, when I was younger, when I first saw these movies, I didn't like Boromir because, he did some bad stuff. But now that I've gotten older, I've realized what exactly was going on. The ring corrupts people. So yes, Boromir wasn't strong enough to avoid the corruption, but again, they make a point in these movies to say that men are easily corrupted. He gets corrupted, but he realizes what he does, and then he gives his life protecting Merry and Pippin. I mean, it took 3 arrows to take this guy down. He was willing to fight through anything just to make up for what he had done. I know I've said this like 100 times, but there's so much about these movies that I just love. So now what I want to do is I want to give you guys an explanation of the review scale that I'm going to use when I talk about movies. I know when I did my Daredevil review, I gave it a score out of 10, but I want to change things up a bit. So I decided to base it on things that I actually say about movies when people ask me about them. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So at the very bottom is terrible. Pretty self-explanatory. Don't see this movie. It's bad. Next one up is it's okay, which means it's not a great movie, but I mean, I wasn't bored, so there's that. And then we have pretty good, which means it's a very good movie, though there wasn't really anything special about it. And finally, we have amazing, which means see this movie right now. So, I think it's pretty obvious, but I'm gonna say that The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring is amazing. Seriously, if you haven't seen this movie, go and watch it now. Like right now. So I guess that's everything for now. Like I said, I'm going to be reviewing Age of Ultron later this week. And when I don't really have anything else planned, I'll finish reviewing the rest of this trilogy. And if you've got Twitter or Facebook, you can follow me on Twitter at Babaloo, or you can like my Facebook page, facebook.com/Babaloo. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching. If you want, you can check out some of my older videos, which I'm showing you here, and you can go down to the comments and tell me what topic you think I should make a video about. While you're there, hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notified every time a new video comes out, and thanks for watching.